Good morning. My name is Uchanjang, Country Director of KOICA Nigeria office. Actually, this webinar is connecting not only Nigeria, but also Korea and other countries. So using this opportunity, KOICA, we provide a platform to how to accelerate multimedia education in Nigeria, especially under this pandemic. Yesterday, Federal Ministry of Education and ubec and state government, such as FCT, Lagos, and Oyo state government, present what Nigerian government have done so far to cope with the pandemic, and also major challenges and opportunities for the way forward. At the end of webinar yesterday, KOICA office introduced Nigeria-Korea Model School project for accelerating multimedia education in Nigeria. And also, one of KOICA's alumni member present about his research on teachers' perception on the usefulness of ICT in the classroom and how to promote it. We had shared our knowledge and experience and had a very meaningful discussion yesterday. Today is the second day of Multimedia Education Acceleration webinar. On behalf of Federal Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, Mr. Olufemi, Deputy Director of E-Government Bureau, we present on Ministry's action to be taken for COVID-19. Also, we have opportunity to learn from development partners in Nigeria, like USAID and UNICEF will present their program in education sector in Nigeria. Also, private partners in education industry will introduce their performance and achievement under the situation. Last but not least, Professor Pyun, he worked as project manager of KOICA Multimedia project, which was phased out 2019, last year. He will present on case study on Korean government response against COVID-19. So not only government officials and private partner and donor organization in Nigeria, many Korean experts and stakeholders also attend this webinar. So I hope that today's webinar also bear a fruitful result. And thank you for your joining today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, like the country director have said, we are having participants from Korea, Nigeria, and also our development partners who will be briefing us on what they've done so far, so we can learn from their experience. And also, yesterday we had Minister of Education, the director, and FCT Education Secretariat, which also have joined us today, Dr. Ladan. So thank you very much for joining us. So let's begin because time is of essence. So now I will now open up the floor for Engineer Femi to, in 5 minutes, to brief us on what the ministry is currently doing and the strategies regarding accelerating COVID-19, multimedia education during COVID-19 in Nigeria. Engineer Olufemi, can you hear me? Hello, Engineer Olufemi. I would like you to unmute your microphone and say hello to the house so we can know you can hear us. Okay. Hello, can everyone else hear me? I think Engineer Olufemi is having some challenge.
Yes, we can hear you. Okay.
So I think the Deputy Director, Minister of Communication and Digital Economy is having some challenge. So we're just going to move on to Nurudeen, which is the Chief of Party, Creative Associate in Nigeria. I think he was the person that actually worked on the project that usaid have. And so he was here with us this morning to brief us on lessons learned, and so we can learn from their experience. Okay, so over to you, Nurudeen. Can you hear us?
I can hear you, Godwin. Are you, good morning? Will you be sharing the screen from your end, or?
You can share from your end. You have the privilege to share from your end.
Just 1 minute. So good morning, everyone. I thought initially that this would be shared from the one that was sent, but I'm putting on the screen now to share my screen with you. Briefly, I will be there. Share screen. Okay. Can everyone see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to say good morning to everyone. And I think I would like to put the screen also. I want to enlarge the screen, but I think I'm already in the on the platform, so I don't want to delay again. So I'd like to start by saying that the project is a USAID project, and Creative Associates is just the implementing partner. So I belong to usaid Northern Education Initiative Plus. The Northern Education Initiative Plus project is a 5-year project that extended from 2015 to 2020, and we are working in 2 states. And this presentation is being made by myself and Nura Ibrahim, and he's online with us here also. Nura Ibrahim is a program, education program manager with USAID. Now, the main objectives of the project is to increase access and also improve reading outcomes in Bauchi and Sokoto State. So you can see that it's showing Bauchi and Sokoto State there. And we're reaching 1 million pupils right now. And these 1 million pupils are in formal school systems. And they are from primary 1 to 3. So what we do is to improve reading in early grades. And this is done also in mother tongue. And for these 2 areas that we're working right now, the mother tongue is the language of the environment, so to say, is Hausa. And so we added English to that. But right now, we have an expanded scope that we are presently developing materials, also in early reading materials in Igbo and Yoruba. Apart from these 1 million pupils in formal school, we're also working with, right now, we've reached up to 268,000 learners that are non-formal learners. These non-formal learners are in what we call non-formal learning centers and adolescent girls learning centers. For the non-formal learners, they are between the age of 6 to 5 to 12, whereas the non-formal are all, the adolescent girls learning center are up to 17 years old from the age of 13 to 17. So these are the non-formal group, and we've been working with 12,000 teachers. And for the non-formal learning centers, we've so far supported 5,600 learning facilitators. These we've done in 5,600 schools and 5,600 non-formal learning centers and adolescent girls learning centers. Also, 2,700 formal schools. And all of this is to improve reading, outcome, and improve access. I would like to say that earlier on, before the pandemic, we on the NEI Plus project realized the great potentials of technology to rapid scale up and to making sure that we are able to reach a number of people. And so if you look at the data there, that data is a very recent data, not too recent, 2018, on the technology reach in the country. And if you look at the first one, it says that unique mobile subscriber in Nigeria is about 97.5 million right now, and will be growing to about 30 million by 2025. Mobile penetration in Nigeria right now is 49%. I'm sure all of this data is very familiar, but the important thing is how do you want to tap into using this to promote education, to promote learning. If you look at the estimated radio ownership is 60 million. So I will now, going from this, I'll move on to talk about, if you imagine that the estimated household TV is 47 million, but there is a great disparity between this ownership in the Southwest, in the South, and in Northern Nigeria. And so as we go on, you will get to hear more about that disparity. Okay. So on the project, we have a system approach towards integration of technology. And the way we start is that we deal with different institutions, and we do institutional capacity assessment for those institutions. And based on the institutional capacity assessment, we're able to have a capacity development plan that we use to support the organizations. So in our social mobilization department of SUBEBs and community mobilization activities, we have technology that has been integrated. Data management, we are supporting EMIS validation. Financial planning, we are supporting project planning tools. In agency coordination, we have what we call a TIMIS, teacher management information system. And we are also, the ICA itself, the institutional capacity assessment, has been digitalized. So the data collection from that is done digitally and is web-based. Also, we have school and home learning support system. And that home learning support system you see there is basically a new introduction after during the COVID-19. It used to be school support system, which is our coaching and mentoring system that is tablet-based, and which you now see on a dashboard. And then we've been able to also include technology in our policy development activities. And I will give more details as we go on. So if you look at the next diagram, what you see there is how we are penetrating our different partner institutions with technology. You see the SQA, School Quality Assurance. So we support the school coaching and mentoring using technology and real-time. And you can see such things after they've been collected on tablets. You can see them on a dashboard wherever you are. We have mobile phones that are being used to collect data. We have tablets that are being used to collect data all across the system. And also, we are reaching out to homes. That's the community mobilization you see now with the technology through radio, transmission of radio programs, and IVRs, which are interactive voice response. We also use SMS, and we are also using WhatsApp so much. And so I'm going to narrow down specifically to what we did during this COVID-19. If you understand that there are two main things around learning, it's around interaction and engagement. What do you engage with? What do you have to work with? And the interaction of who is working with who. So the first thing is that the radio becomes the, we used to talk about Parentis Institute, if I'm right, then in education, that teachers are Parentis Institute, Institutus Parentis. But now I say that we have now radios being surrogate teachers. Then what again is that it is time, it's a periodic engagement, and audience can respond during weekly broadcasts. That is, on our radio programs, we are able to ensure that we get feedback from parents and learners on at a certain period of time. And on the IVR broadcast, parents can actually be able to say whether they want a repeat of that broadcast, whether they want to be receiving that broadcast. So it's very interactive. And they can also get further assistance if they need. We ask them to move on to some other platforms and where they can get further assistance. There are socioeconomic implications in terms of ownership of phone, like we talked about, mobile phones and what kind of mobile phones and what quality of mobile phones and how long they can stay without being charged, and all of that involved in all of these. Ownership of radio, ownership of TV, and all of that. And I'll say that in terms of engagement, the good thing is that the radio program contents are based on the materials that are being used in the state. I need to say here that we started with working with 10 local governments in each of the states. And as of now, all the schools in the state, all the public schools in the 2 states where we work, and in additional 4 states of Enugu, Ebonyi, Yobe, Gombe, and Gombe, Borno have already joined the project. So we have 6 states that are using the program right now, the materials we developed right now, and those, the text developed for face-to-face is the basis for the development of radio programs in the 2 states where we work, and I believe also in Gombe State. The engagement process of learning is because there is a material, you can follow the material as you learn. And the concept of school is changing now, and we ensure that apart from that, the school has extended into the home right now. A lot of what we do are very interactive and engaging to the learners with songs, read aloud stories, and listening comprehension, all put into it. I will run quickly. Godwin did not tell me how much time I need, but I'll be very conscious of time as I move on. Right now, the lessons we produce for radio have between 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the state. In Sokoto State, it's 15 minutes. In Bauchi State, the TV radio programs are 30 minutes. And we've been able to send out IVR messages over this period of time. And you see all the content, composition of the audio and the TV program. We also have radio dramas that we've been able to produce, 24-episode radio drama that is being broadcasted into the communities. Now, if you look at the next diagram, you see that partnership is very critical. We've not done this all alone. We've done this with UNICEF, and we've done this with NIPEP, and NIPEP is a World Bank project that just closed last month, and also BESA is supporting activities. I need to say also that in Bauchi State, because the program just ended last month, the Bauchi State Radio Corporation continued with the broadcast at their own cost. And so what you see here is that we've been able to produce 465 scripts of our Let's Read material and the Mukaranta material. And that have of duration of 32,000, almost 33,000 minutes of recordings. And also the broadcast that have been done is episodes is 1,380 total episodes so far during this COVID period. And that's the program, a TV program being recorded in Sokoto State. The remote learning broadcast flow is what you see there. And I don't think there is anything, I think I've spoken to that already.
Mr. Nurudeen.
Now, if you look at the reach that we have right now is that for the number of children we are thinking of approximately 400,000 children. The problem with that is that most of the radio stations and TV stations do not have verified listenership or audienship data. And but from our study, we know that a maximum of 20% of those that have radio also have TV. So we are estimating 80,000 access to the TV. But for the IVR, that is very, very, very easy to calculate. And so the figure for that is 11,300.
Mr. Nurudeen, Nurudeen, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, because we have time constraint, we also have UNICEF also is also coming to brief. We need to brief us, and then we also have to ask questions. Can I ask you to wrap up your presentation in 3 minutes, and then the other things we can talk about it during the question and answer? Okay,
I will do that. So as part of the pandemic issue, we are able to also organize a competition, reading competition for children. And we've been able to, about 250 entries, and we have winners nominated. Then we're able to do, you see, one of the big problems is getting feedback on all that you are doing. What is happening within the communities? And so we're able to do a very quick field-based monitoring to reach more than 800 homes. And we were able to get data on whether the programs are being listened to, whether they are following the parents and what kind of people are following, whether they are enjoying it. In terms of cost, that's what you see there. And we are doing virtual continuous professional development for teachers using WhatsApp, and we put them in clusters, and they are supported by master trainers. And so this worked very well for us, and we are going into the next stage of the training for teachers. In this particular set, we're able to reach more than 850 teachers in last month with the virtual continuous professional development using WhatsApp. And then we have a very robust community mobilization platform, and which is tablet based, which is digitally based, and then we use it to collect information from the communities. And so we have videos that we show to communities using the Pico projector, and we are also using the radio program as an outreach activities. All of our activities, whether it's system strengthening, whether it's community mobilization, whether it's supporting teachers, are all ICT based even before the pandemic. I will quickly talk about the challenges. The challenges of funding, responding quickly to the contingency has been a problem in one of the states we work with, and also getting the right number of listenership for broadcast. Also, effectiveness in terms of learning outcome. Okay, even when they say they listen to it, even when they say they watch it, how do we really know they are learning from it? So that is also a major challenge. And also, when all of this started, we never thought of how to support parents to be able to support their children. The support given on almost every project has been directed at the teacher. We've never thought of how to support the parents or give the parents guides on how to support their children learning at home. And also, we had problem of social distancing during production. There is a big problem of inclusivity within the use of technology. Women access to technology, women access to radio, women access to television, and all of that becomes to phone. It's a major barrier here. Some of our lessons learned is that we have successfully collaborated with other government partners, UNICEF, BESDA, and NIPEP. And we are also thinking that the country should be looking very seriously towards having a multimedia policy and guide. We're also thinking that protocols need to be more engaging and organized across the platform. As we move on, we are thinking that blended learning approach will be the way to go for now. And also there need to be peer review of contents that are being broadcasted on radio and TV so that we can learn from each other. Also the M&E protocol to make sure that we know that the listenerships are there and are following and are listening, and also to know whether the children are learning from it. It's a major aspect of it that we need to check out. Then parental support, as I mentioned earlier on, and also the continuous professional development for teachers need to be adapted to different platforms. So if you are using SMS, the content will change from when you are using WhatsApp. And also we need to take cognizance of making enough budgetary allocation for ICT use. Technology is very, very good for rapid scale up of activities. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nurudeen. That was a very long one. Okay, excellent. So I'll ask you to hang on because I'm still going to bring in your colleagues from usaid during the question and answer period. But let me bring in the education manager from UNICEF.
Thank you,
Hello.
everyone.
How are you
Good
doing?
morning, everyone. Thank
Good
you
morning.
for doing so.
Okay, so can I ask you to present in 10 minutes what UNICEF is currently doing, and so we can proceed from there?
Yeah, it's a very brief presentation, so I think it will take less than 10 minutes. I will not take more than even.
Okay.
To start with, many thanks to Team KOICA for giving UNICEF this opportunity. And as all of you know, UNICEF is working across over 190 countries and territories to protect the right of every child everywhere. And education program is one of the key anchor of UNICEF program. Mostly, as you know, UNICEF works for health, nutrition, was and education, one of the key anchor. That's what I am saying. And particularly in Nigeria, UNICEF works with government, development partner, and other key stakeholders to improve the access and learning outcome of children. And particularly in this context, the presentation is around education strategic response to COVID-19. So may I request you to share me the privilege to share the screen, please? Can you see my screen now? I hope it is viewed to.
We can see your screen.
Okay. To start with, particularly this COVID response is around three key criteria, three key strategic response. Number one is around continuing learning through alternative home-based learning platforms. And second is around your education systems recovers from school closure and ready to support children who have lost learning and implements their school operation. And third is around to build systemic capacity so that the system will be resilient for future shocks. So UNICEF's strategic response towards COVID-19 is around in these three objectives. And if you see the response here, and just let me allow to give you a brief background of this ICT and other systemic things here, particularly due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and this is a universal crisis, and for some children, the impact will be lifelong, be it educational, economic, so psychosocial and economical, the impact will be lifelong for many of the children. And particularly in the Nigerian context, nearly 50 million children and youth are affected due to school closure. And if you see here, the schools are closed from 20th of March. That means the children have lost more than one quarter of schools so far. And if you see the ICT infrastructure available at the home, nearly 82% children do not have access to internet, and 67% of the households either have radio or television. Considering this background and the resources we have at home, we designed the COVID response along with the Federal Ministry of Education and Ministry of Education at the state level. And where we are in this response, just let me share with you a few points. So regarding the alternate home-based learning, we started with mapping learning resources. That's by grade, by subject, with the appropriate platform. That means which is fit for radio, which let's say content script for television and online. So initially we started with the mapping exercise, and we provided technical support both to Federal Ministry of Education and 16 focus states, those where UNICEF works, and designing and developing script for nearly 330 learning lessons per state for radio and television, and it's reaching over 20 million children in all across Nigeria. And at the same time, in the northeastern states, particularly due to the humanitarian and emergency situation, we also established nearly 570 radio and reading clubs, and nearly 50,000 radio sets distributed to keep engaging children in learning. And this is one of the aspects for the alternative and multiple modalities to engage children in learning. And the second aspect around how we can engage government to ensure the schools are safe place when the children are returned to schools. So for that, we supported government in develop the safe school guidelines, safe school reopening guideline, and also a joint risk assessment is being conducted to see how far the schools are adhere to those guidelines, so that monitoring and joint risk assessment is going on, and also develop a roadmap for the different phases. So as we move forward, how the schools are prepared to receive and provide children in a safe safe environment. And also we are providing technical support in psychosocial support and gender-based violence orientation and counseling. And those sessions are being transmitted through radio, face-to-face, and through television, particularly to boost the emotional capacities to cope with various effects of COVID-19. Additionally, also, we engage with local volunteers and school-based management committee members to orient on gender-based violence and other child rights aspects. Additionally, also, we engage in remote learning, remote monitoring, because in this situation, we can't face-to-face engage with respondents for data collections. We engage remote way, particularly in telephoning interviews through Google Forms, through WhatsApp, through other ICT platform. We also conducted monitoring and also rapid learning assessment, and these are the few findings from those learning assessment and remote monitoring studies. So what we found is nearly 62% children are accessing home-based learning. That means nearly 38% children are not accessing any of the platform. And those who are associating, out of them, nearly 80% are associated with radios. Okay. Then nearly 9% children, this is a very heartening thing to learn that nearly 9% children accessing learning programs at their neighborhood. And during this learning program, nearly 42% children took note. And when they are rating about the quality of this program, nearly 72% household rated this learning program as good and found interesting. And mostly these learning programs are disseminated by FME and Ministry of Education. And what is the learning outcome during this COVID situation? Particularly in the early reading and numeracy, nearly 57% of the learner correctly responded numeracy question, and 68% children provided right answer to literacy question. So these are the holistic UNICEF's strategic COVID-19 response to education. And what are the challenges and lessons learned during this process? Particularly the challenges are wide disparities in availability of home-based learning resources, because as you know, nearly 50% of the households do not have television, nearly 30% households even do not have functional radio. And this varies from the geopolitical region to geopolitical region and state to state. And the second key challenges here is the adequate grade-wise content coverage, because when you provide the lessons through radio and television, it's more crowded, because we have different grades and 4 different core subjects. So when you accommodate particular grade, particular subject, it's very, very difficult to develop a very balanced schedule around this airing of this material. So maybe a good suggestion around one grade, one specific channel, but it's a very ambitious one. But this is one of the key challenges. Then third challenges is poor ICT supported infrastructure and weak systemic capacity. And this is mostly at the system level, because we have poor ICT structure, infrastructures at the state level to support this mammoth task. And this is a new normal, particularly around the remote data and monitoring mechanism. It's a new experience for most of the households and the data, those who are engaged in data collection and agile system, how to collect data, how to process the data in a very short time, and to provide feedback to the system to improve it further. So it's a really challenge to adapt the system, particularly on the remote data collection and monitoring mechanism. And another key challenges is about the parental priorities and support. Particularly now the learning is happening at the home. This is the core learning happening center. So once the parent if you connect this to the educational literacy rate in Nigeria, nearly 53% women are illiterate. So you can connect the parental support for this learning and the literacy rate. So it's a key challenge here. But at the same time, there are few learning as well, particularly when we coordinate with the key stakeholder, particularly development partner, government, civil society organizations, and also the civil community leaders at the local level. So we found it, let's say we could cover more with less. That means we bring in different partners together so that who can provide take-home ready reading material, assessment cards, so that they can engage with the children, those who do not have access to radio or television or online platform. That's worked well. Then at the same time also we tried the radio clubs, reading clubs innovatively, and also we also teaching at right level learning materials. So we adapted those materials to engage children in emergency situation. Also we try with our best and also engage ICT platforms for the remote learning, remote monitoring exercises. So these are the few learning points for all of us. At the same time, also this is my last slide. I will take 3 to 4 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes maximum to discuss this and to and this is the action plan, how we move forward. And if you see, these are 3 stages. This is the disruption stage, transition stage, and the return to school stage. Okay, during the disruption, again, the safety, security, the well-being, and the learning are the key objective, the key strands across these 3 stages. So during disruptions, community parental support for the safety operation, particularly the gender-based violence, and parental support to learning, so that the social behavioral change communication is very key in that part. And in the well-being strand, mostly to the psychosocial and mental support through the radio program, through the television, and engaging also private partners and counselor to children, particularly in the Borno-based states particularly. And learning, as I discussed in my past slides, this is during the disruptions. And as we move forward, the transition points to ensure when the schools opens, they have the adequate vast facility, because the safety is the priority when the schools reopen. How the schools are being prepared to receive children in safe environment, and what are the work the school need to do, what are the protocol the school need to adhere, so that the orientation and the guideline, that part is the transition part. And also at the same time, we prepared a group of master trainer or volunteers so that they can provide psychosocial support both to students and teachers, those who are infected COVID-19. So that platform is going to be ready. Then during the transition stage, it's important to readiness to learn and quality of learning, identify gaps, and acceleration program is very key. So here we are training teacher to identify the key gaps that during the lost learning, so that they can design the pedagogical practices accordingly. And when it is with the system prepared and the children started returning to school, then how the system need to be prepared. That means it has to develop costed plan, your joint risk assessment, providing wash and hygiene. That's the not providing, but providing plus provisioning. It has to be a continuous basis, and it has to be costed. Then COVID-proofing school practices, because it all require recurrence, budget provision as well. So how we can sensitize the government to develop costed plan around it. Then at the same time also, the psychosocial support has to be a continuous process, and it can be added with the screening and referral services when the school started and children are engaged in the classroom situation, because the children will be children. They, they will, let's say, adhere to the physical distancing, but still there is a chance of infection. So how the school is prepared to
Can I ask to wrap up, please?
Yeah, just last 30 seconds. Last 30 seconds. When the children learn to
Hello, Mr. Rudra. Are you done with your presentation? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect, perfect. There was some little bit of technical issues there, but it's good now. Okay, I believe you are done with the presentation, right?
Yes, I am done with my presentation.
Okay, perfect. So may I ask you to stay online? I want to bring in now Miss Ellis and from USAID and Dr. Nura Ibrahim also, which is also from USAID. We're going to ask a couple of questions. So we can understand a little bit more your presentation this morning and how we can leverage on what you've learned already. Is that okay?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so perfect. So, Miss Ellis, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, yes. Oh,
yes, good morning. I can hear you very
Okay.
well.
Okay, perfect.
I am on the line. But
Okay.
Nura Ibrahim, I direct your questions to Nura Ibrahim, who's the COR of the NEI Plus activity. He's also on the call and prepared today to answer. I will chime in as needed.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so we'll direct the first question to Nura Ibrahim then. Nura Ibrahim. Okay, so one of the first questions we wanted to find out from USAID and from the program you've done would be if there is an area of collaboration between KOICA and USAID, could you probably suggest those areas? And what is the total budget that USAID has put into the current project that was mentioned, that was presented this morning?
This is the question
Dr.
to me.
Ibrahim, can you hear me?
Yes, Godwin, I can hear you very well and clear.
Okay, do you want me to repeat the question or you got it?
Yes, I got the question. You were asking about the cost and also how can we partner with KOICA on this the innovation. Is it right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much and good morning all. And thank you, Nurudeen Party, for the presentations and UNICEF also and all those that have spoken. And also my boss, Alice, for deferring to me to respond. Quickly, if you have seen the presentation from how it started, I think we have a lot of opportunities to partner with KOICA in terms of the use of the digital technology. For instance, the tablet. Yesterday, I was part of the webinar when I saw some of the opportunities available within KOICA and what the ubec FCT was using. And the director mentioned that it was supported by KOICA. And I took note of that and said, okay, fine, maybe this is another opportunity that we can also extend hands and talk more around that. And I know since Godwin also attend the educational partners group meetings, I think that's another level of discussions, and also the Chupo Party can also come in to give more details on what exactly we would need to have from KOICA, for instance, to make Nigeria better, and also in the issue of digitalization of learning. So I think this is a very good opportunity, and thank you for organizing this. In terms of funding for what we have spent, honestly, it has a lot of implications, meaning that I know this question will be asked because the support that is given to NEI Plus is given in a some kind of, and out of that, the money is taken out in the ICT and within the COVID-19 pandemic, that is being provided. However, the Chupo Party in its presentation presented that $100,000 is being spent per term from the presentation. So maybe that can be like a starting point. Yesterday, I had the Isah, the ICT director from the Federal Ministry of Education, saying that one of the challenges with the distance learning and ICT is the issue of cost of bandwidth within the radio stations and television. And we all know that that's a fact. And then I think this is where maybe partners, donors, and government need to come together to see how can that be supported. I don't know if this is okay based on the questions you guys got because of time. Thank you. Over.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much. Quickly, can I ask Mr. Rudra to close your screen? We are still seeing your screen so that we can. Mr. Rudra, can you hear us? Okay,
yes,
perfect.
yes,
Okay, perfect. All right. So the first question we also we're going to be taking questions from attendees. So if you have a question, we'll ask to drop it at the question and answer box so that we can ask the question to our panelists. But what we wanted to find out from UNICEF, from what you've done so far, what actually is the best monitoring mechanism that you deployed to monitor the program that you've put in? And if we decide also to support remote education, what would be your best suggestion?
Is the question to me?
Yes, the question is to you, sir.
Okay, see, particularly during the COVID-19 situation, monitoring is very, very crucial, but it's very challenging at the same time. So we engage the ICT platforms such as Google Forms, the UNICEF U-Report platforms, and also WhatsApp. And at the same time, also we use the telephone and special toll-free numbers as well to take the feedback from the households, engage households in collecting data, and also we, let's say, take help from volunteers at the local level to collect data and quickly analyze and responding back to the system. So it's a very quick process, and we use multiple modalities of ICTs as well as human resources support during pandemic to collect and summarize analyze data and provide input to the system to improve the alternative home-based learning platforms. Over.
Okay.
And,
yes, that's perfect.
And what's the second part of your question? So actually, one is around.
So the second question that was asked is, KOICA also may be considering supporting remote education. So what would be your best suggestion based on your experience?
See, actually, one of the key area what I can see is the digitalization of because this is a new normal. We don't know how long it will go. And for the better system preparedness, it is advised the system can have a digitalization of its curriculum, its textbook, its learning resources, so that it will be a resources for generation. So that means if we can collaborate with each other to utilize the resources for learning and can provide to the children, that will be of great help, particularly the children of Nigeria as we move forward, because this will be the resources for generation.
Okay.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Right, so we're going to proceed. The next question is just for you as well, UNICEF. Is UNICEF currently collaborating with Federal Ministry of Education now? And which states do you support? Is your collaboration is in hand with the Federal Ministry of Education?
Yes, actually, see, we provide Federal Ministry of Education that covers all states, all 36 states and FCT in Nigeria, but at the same time to address the equity and be more focused and address the equity issue. So we more focus on 16 states. That name of those states I can share in it. I will share with you so that you can share with the participants. So
okay.
we provide more focused support to 16 states in Nigeria.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much. All right, so we want to take just one more. There are a lot of questions in the Q&A. We may not be able to take all the questions because of time, but I will just take one question for the usaid. The question is coming from Jomoke, and this person is asking, how do you handle data usage accessibility to students? Because that is a major issue. Can I quickly ask usaid to respond to that, Dr. Ibrahim? Hello, Dr. Ibrahim. Are you still with us?
Yes, Dr. Godwin. Sorry, please. Please, can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, there's a question from the audience. There's a question from the audience asking, how do you handle data usage accessibility for students? Because that actually is the major issue in terms of accessing multimedia education. I'm sure you pointed it in your slide, but could you briefly address that?
Okay. data usage, issue of the difference between the urban and the rural areas. Mostly in the urban areas, there's also a limitation. The challenge with that is the parents do not have enough time sometimes to even look after what the children are watching or doing. So when you go to administer questionnaires to get this done and then finally have it on your database, there's also the issue of utilization of data. Sorry, I'm not blaming anyone, but in terms of utilization of data for decision-making when it comes to educational policies and what have you. So the traditional way is that people just want to use their perception and say, yeah, this is what's happening, even though you have an evidence that showcases and says, for instance, what Nuru presented, over 806,000 reach, and then at the end of the day, now you're programming to say you want to provide the hand sanitizers and the face mask and all those and all that, the data will not be effectively used. So that's the challenge that we have seen from what was done by NEI+. And then secondly, the issue of ICT itself. Right now, even though NEI+ is doing a lot of effort in terms of training of government officials, and the use of data and ICT, particularly with the EMIS officers, the Education Management Information System officers at the local government level and also at the state level, but still at the nascent level. It's still going and growing because the tradition is that people don't want to, particularly in the government sector, the ICT component is still at the childhood level. Let me use that word. So we're having such challenges, and thank God we have officials from the Federal Ministry of Education and also from UBEC. I also had yesterday from director from teacher development from UBEC who says they are having a training in the TI curriculum or something that has to do with ICT. So I think these are some of the issues and challenges that maybe we can all resolve together. Godwin, I hope I've answered these questions clearly.
Okay, perfect.